Today, I wanted to start off by talking how do we learn? So basically, we learn through repetition. The brain needs repetition to learn, and that starts from an early age. So once your baby realizes that it needs to cry to get fed, then it will repeat that behavior. That's purely instinctual. It has to do with many more factors than that, but basically that's how it goes. Or when your baby starts to walk, it needs to fall over for it to try again. Again, that's the way that we learn. That's the way they'll learn to walk. And that primal behavior basically continues on in our entire life. That's the way that we learn. However, what if we teach ourselves the wrong things, the wrong beliefs? We repeat the wrong things that become problematic beliefs. And then the most important question is, how do we unlearn these things? How would we unlearn how to walk, for example? We can't. It's up here, it's in there, it's stored forever, basically. Well, walking is a good thing, so we don't even want to unlearn it. But what if we've taught ourselves to believe things that will, things like, for example, what if we really believe that we'll never become pregnant? And now that we are pregnant, we're now starting to question everything in our pregnancy because we were so afraid and we'd made ourselves believe that we would never become pregnant. And you can become, for example, extremely vigilant about anything during your pregnancy. And that becomes almost an obsession. At every turn, you'll see potential threats. And I name this example because there was a lady in my practice who she worked as an animal vet. And when she became pregnant, after being told it would be very hard for her and her husband to conceive, she ended up having to quit her job because she was so scared of the threat that animals may cause to her health and her baby's health. For example, the cat litter, medications that she had to handle around animals. And it became extremely obsessive. She became obsessive about the foods that she ate. It didn't stop at the animal shelter that she worked at, but she became obsessive about food that she ate. Lots of fears around food. She ended up calling her doctor sometimes more than once on a daily basis, with lots of concerns about absolutely everything. And her doctor picked up on her, excessive worrying, and her doctor put her into contact with a psychologist. But this lady, having a medical background, she now sort of became afraid to tell the doctors and a psychologist, to be honest with them, to tell them everything that was going on. And she was now really afraid that her behavior would maybe get her into trouble with things like social services, and maybe she would lose her baby altogether that way to social services. So you can imagine that was an extremely stressful and very unenjoyable, if that's even a word, an unenjoyable pregnancy, all because of beliefs that she had before she became pregnant. And her husband had also become very worried about what it would be like after she would have had their baby, because her pregnancy was so obsessive. And in the end, he was the one who contacted me to ask for advice. So after they had their little baby girl, things did settle down for a while, which was obviously a huge relief to all of them. But then when she had to reapply for jobs, and that was when shit hit the fan again, and the obsessive behavior became worse and worse and worse. And it was really affecting their marriage, which is again why the husband contacted me, and really all aspects of her life. So her husband contacted me again about my therapy. And she did try lots of alternative healing therapies in between, not exactly sure, but they were all to no avail. So she was committed even at one point, which had a huge impact for everyone involved. And then when she was at her wit's end, she eventually agreed to come to see me we only had one session together. And we were able to uncover what was the root cause to all of it. And it all stemmed from something that happened to her in her teens. And I have permission to share this story with you, otherwise I wouldn't obviously be doing that. But to cut a long story short, her friends had all started their periods at one point during early teenhood. And this lady had become very, very worried that something was wrong with her body because her period didn't start until she was probably about 15. And the development of her body also started a little bit later than some of her friends at the time, and it had left her feeling extremely insecure until she got her period. And she hated having her period so much, and all the things that came with it, all the hormonal things that came with it. So she no longer had the issues, as everything sort of started to develop normally from that point on. It was just a little bit later than her friends, but just like a 2-year gap. But these years of worrying about something being wrong with her development, that sort of reignited when she and her partner tried to become pregnant. So in her subconscious, she'd convinced herself that something was wrong with her, and all the worries were instantly back, basically all the worries that she'd had as a teen, as soon as they started trying for a baby, and it didn't work out the first time. And that, in the end, escalated into perinatal OCD behaviour around absolutely anything that could put her at risk for potentially not having the baby or not having a healthy pregnancy and not becoming a parent. So, you can go to therapists who tell us our issues stem from anxiety, because many therapists, they try and make us believe that all issues that we have can be related back to anxiety. But in this case, it just proves that the root of the cause of mental health difficulties that this lady was experiencing, she was showing signs of anxiety, but had nothing to do with, it didn't stem from anxiety. It had everything to do with feeling different from her peers at a vulnerable age because of a difference in timing of hormonal development. I make it sound simple, and it wasn't for her at the time, but it wasn't a big issue until she tried to become pregnant again. And I couldn't have guessed that. I didn't even attempt to guess that. But during one session, she was able to uncover this with a little guidance from me. And that was all she needed to understand where her thoughts and feelings were coming from. And because she was able to challenge these beliefs, that made all the difference. It all came right in the end with her hormones, and she had to trust it and not be impatient. She became unstuck of that belief, understood that this is what it was, basically mostly impatience that had gotten in her way in the first place. And ever since then, she has been able to turn things around for herself. And now, about 6 months on, she started a new education, something completely different from what she'd previously done in the animal shelter before. And she tells me on a very regular basis that she feels that she's finally thriving again instead of surviving, which she felt like for probably the past year and a half, if not more. And she's also a lot more patient and a lot less scared of things that she can't control. And it's just a beautiful result. And this only took about probably a bit more than an hour to uncover it. And I'm going to ask her to write a review so that you can literally read it. So, I can show it as proof, and I'll make sure to post it once I have it. If you feel stuck and you feel that there's no way out, then please don't hesitate to contact me, because everyone deserves to have a loving life with your new family. You deserve to enjoy a pregnancy and everything that comes after that. And when you're feeling stuck, then there is help out there, and I would love to help you, because everybody's root cause is different. Going to a therapist may be something that will really help you, but if you become so stuck and you've been trying lots of things and nothing seems to work, then I honestly urge you to contact me, because I would love to help to get you unstuck. Take care.